Hello, good evening, folks. So this is a Sports Wave show. I am Leslie, your host, and I'm here with my co-pundits, Ken. Ken, what's up?
Oh, everything better, anything better. We're there inside. Give thanks to life.
Oh, okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
So this evening, I would like us to profile a very young and promising coach in this generation. He was a former player of Liverpool, Real Madrid, and later went to Bayern Munich.
Okay.
He was one of the best midfielders in his generation. Yeah. So he has won several trophies. He's a World Cup winner in 2010 with Spain. He has 2 European championships. He also won Champions League titles with Liverpool and Real Madrid, and later went to Bayern Munich, where he also won 3 league titles. He has an FA Cup title. He has a Community Shield. He's no other person than Xabi Alonso Olano. Yeah. So I know you're a very ardent football fan. So what do you make of him as a player?
I think he's one of the most decorated players. Thank you. Good evening, folks. This is Ken. I'm here live on Sports Wave, and interestingly, I think with the question on board, Alonso, I watched him a while in Liverpool. I think 2005 Champions League with AC Milan. He really made a mark in the finals, and later on, when Liverpool had some bit of financial crisis, he went on to Real Madrid, and actually saw him play well in the then Bayern team. So he's a very decorated footballer, one of the best of his time. He's very good at what he does, and I think a lot has been said about him with his potential, even as a player, and what his previous manager said about him. And I think that is what is really manifesting. There's no doubt that he's been there. He's a legend. He's playing the long game, and he's won that status for himself.
So Alonso as a player, what were his qualities as a football player?
I think I watched Mourinho once on a YouTube channel on a scoreboard, and he actually used him in Madrid as a pivot, double pivot. I think he played with several players. Like I think in Liverpool he was playing with
Steven Gerrard, exactly.
yeah, and he was really controlling. I mean, a kind of pillow-like player, but he was also very, very, very tactical and aggressive. A bit. He can
So it's a good passer of the ball,
yeah,
long range.
exactly.
I remember short passes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a defensive move for the ball could dictate the tempo of a game.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the list said about him, and he could also score a goal. He has an eye for goal.
Yeah.
He's a winner. He's a warrior in the midfield. He doesn't compromise, and I mean, he doesn't down tools.
I remember one of his major highlights as a player during the 2004 final Champions League against AC Milan. I remember he was the player who even equalized the ball for Liverpool.
Yes,
he equalized the goal for Liverpool. Yeah,
and that started, and the ignition started. In fact, I think did that. I think it was a penalty. Yeah. Did that stop the penalty, and it was a rebound he scored, and that started the whole ignition of Liverpool coming back to win the champion. Alonso, the least said about him, he's one of the best players. If I'd ever wanted to be a footballer, I would have idolized him. Yeah, I would have idolized him because of he actually played a long game.
I also have fond memories of him way back in Madrid when he was playing alongside Khedira and Luka Modric. Yeah. I remember way back, Guardiola even labeled him as one of the best midfielders ever he has worked with. Yeah.
In fact, he's very incredible, outrageous player. He doesn't. In fact, these are the players that. And it's really unsurprising what he's doing with Bayern Leverkusen. I know you're going to come to that subject very soon, but I mean, he epitomized the good game. What the Brazilians would call the jogo bonito. I actually epitomized that, and it's not by sheer chance that, I mean, he's gone on several streaks of unbeaten because of how he has boosted his midfield and how they progress the ball from defense to midfield to the forward line.
So talking about Bayer Leverkusen, how do you see his trajectory from being a player to a coach now, and what he's currently doing at Bayer Leverkusen? What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's an incredible honor what he's doing for Bayer Leverkusen. I mean, in my living memory, I've not seen Bayer Leverkusen like this. In fact, Bayer Leverkusen as a team has had very top footballers. I mean, Balak played, Cruz played, Berbatov was once there. I think in 2002 even went to Champions League final with Madrid. In fact, we can't deride their legacy in football, but for some time now, Bayer Leverkusen has been a sleeping lion. There has been a sleeping giant for a while, up until this season and last season, where we saw Alonso lacking his head amongst the competition that we are actually witnessing in the league and also in Europe, right? So Bayer Leverkusen, in fact, has got to themselves a very decorated, loyal, good manager who has a lot of potential to a net, right? So, and I don't want to rehash on the subject, but of course we're going to come to that. I mean, keeping him for more season or a season is going to do them more good.
So to even give you probably a brief background about his coaching, how the coaching started. So when he retired in 2017, I think he had a chance to coach the under 14s of the Real Madrid Football Club. So he coached there for a while, and later in 2019 he moved to Real Sociedad. That's their reserve team, their B team. So in his second spell as a coach of the Real Sociedad B team, he actually gained promotion to Segunda, that is La Liga 2.
Yeah.
He had a chance to promote them. Then
What we know as championship.
What we know as championship in England, exactly. So he guided them for promotion, and they were actually promoted from, I think, the La Liga 3 to La Liga 2, which is basically in Spanish called the Segunda Division. So he really did a remarkable job there. So in 2022, Bayer Leverkusen poached him. But even before that, there were other clubs who were interested in him. But he chose Bayer Leverkusen ahead of the other clubs. So fast forward, I think a season before he went to Bayer Leverkusen, they came 17th in the league. So his first major season in Bayer Leverkusen, he came 6th and qualified them for the Europa League, which they are playing currently. And this current season, come on, what a remarkable journey. No one can even think of any other coach with his fast transition from 6th leading the Bundesliga. I think the last time a club apart from Bayern Munich won the Bundesliga was in 2011-2012. That was Borussia Dortmund under Jurgen Klopp. Since then, Bayern Munich has won the league in successive seasons for about 11 seasons now, and currently we have Bayer Leverkusen leading the league with 73 points. Bayern Munich coming second with 60 points. That's 13 points gap, and we have about less than 9 matches to go. So what do you make of his journey?
Yeah, in fact, see, I'm startled with you mentioning that. I mean, from where he started from the Sociedad B up to the point where he qualified them to the Segunda, which is known as the Championship, and to the point where he was pushed, and even with what he's doing in the league, the Bundesliga, in the not in the guise of Bayern, in a very formidable Bayern team. We saw what Bayern did last season. Yeah. Even at the latter, I think at the last game of the season, what they did to clinch the title from Dortmund, who were supposedly tipped to win it. And in fact, for this season, it is not a competition. In fact, Bayern Munich is not competing, and I heard Tuchel saying that the league is won already. The league is won by Leverkusen already, and with all the track records we've mentioned, Alonso has actually worked himself up the ladder, and he has earned the status for himself. Whatever he has, it's not a sheer chance. It's something that he has worked, assiduously, and in fact, he deserves to enjoy every good deals that comes from that. He deserves it, and he has his imprint on his team. When you look at his midfield pair, when you look at how they don't down tools, they don't capitulate. Even with this Saturday game, everything showed the resilience of Alonso, the personality. In fact, a lot of coaches have said a lot about him, but we also need to understand the personality, Alonso himself, and this is something that, in fact, we have to put it on the paper for a more discourse.
I watched an interview of Granit Xhaka where he was actually talking about Xabi Alonso, and he was saying Alonso was one of the best midfielders in his time. And having Alonso to coach you, because he has an experience of a footballer who was really was a very good footballer. Anything he tells you, the way you strike the ball, your positional play, the way you even pass the ball, so it's easy to work with him. So most of the players even understand his message and his style of play, his tactics and all. So he's saying, which other coach would you want to coach you than Xabi Alonso? And
it's an incredible corner.
Exactly.
For Xhaka to say this. Xhaka is not, in fact, he knows what he's saying.
Exactly.
He's also a midfielder. And he's worked under several managers. And, it's really unsurprising that he's saying this about Alonso. And you see, and on the flip side, I think the exposure he's had as a player to also count really much.
So I wanted to come there. So what do you think has attributed to his success and current rise as a coach?
In fact, he's seen it all from the top leagues. But he came from Spain to Liverpool in England. He played for a while, left to Spain again. He played under very good managers. Mourinho was there. In fact, he went to Bayern. He was coached by Rafa in Liverpool. Rafa, composure, compact. You have to his positional play and tactical play, you have to keep it compact. He went to play with Mourinho, who has a very good knowledge of the game. Reading the game, Mourinho is one of the best in terms of coaches who really read the game and know what they're about. He also worked under Pep at Bayern Munich, and you know what Pep the least said, the better. In fact, so he's seen it all.
But not to forget, he also worked under Carlo Ancelotti.
Ancelotti with the classic. He never went to Italy, but Ancelotti came with him with a lot of baggages from Italy, and he actually had to learn a lot. The thing is that not many footballers actually get to that point. We've seen Xavi, we've seen Puskas, who worked under very good managers like Ferguson himself. We've seen a lot of players, Gary Neville and all those ex-players. But it's about the zeal to learn. We've had people giving that exposure. We have had a lot of good players who have played under these 3 managers, right? But have not gotten anywhere in their managerial career. So it's about the personality of Alonso and the willingness and the zeal to learn. In fact, players have been given that same opportunities. But we can mention a lot, and he actually taking the bold step, starting from the bottom and working himself up the ladder to the point where he is going unbeaten, which I think he's going to accomplish. In fact, so the experiences from England, the experience in Spain and Germany, right, have given him a very good stock of knowledge to actually dwell upon, to trust his managerial profession, right? And the icing on the cake is the managers too, right? The managers work, and I know Mourinho mentioned something like that we should be on the lookout for Alonso, and I think his father too was also a footballer or something like that. Someone mentioned that his father is also
a former footballer.
Yeah, he has a very good nose of the game. He worked under Mourinho, he worked under this, and managers know. Just like teachers, they know the best students, they know the potential they see in students. So, in fact, it's the best. It is really remarkable what he's doing.
Okay, then probably could say all the managers he has worked under, one way or the other, has had impact on him.
Definitely,
as a coach
definitely.
Yeah.
And he can't deny it. I know Alonso himself will never deny it.
But he once mentioned it in his interview.
Wow.
That at least he was able to learn some traits from Carlo Ancelotti, Mourinho, Rafael Benitez. So he actually give a tribute to all of them and what he actually personally learned from them. So he's saying even in his current coaching career, he uses most of their philosophies and what he actually learned from them as a player.
So he's also pragmatic.
So he's also pragmatic. Exactly. Yeah.
But I don't know how to extend this. But I kind of, and I think here you can help us. I kind of wonder why the Spanish Greece do well in their managerial career. Look at Teta. This is I read a headline that he actually learned from the best. A year with Pep Guardiola did a trick for him. Look at Alonso. Look at the Bournemouth coach. What's his name? Areola. Right. Unai Emery. Look at exactly. The Spanish. I think it's a Spanish gene. It's a Spanish chromosome.
But I think it's also down to their culture.
Okay.
Spanish are very passionate about football. They love football. They breathe football. So in a way, it's their culture.
Yeah.
So those from Barcelona, you have others from Basque, where at that time Xabi Alonso come from, and you have other coaches from Madrid. It's their culture. They live football. Yeah.
And so you can actually see the demonstration on their touchline. If they want to, they want to put in there.
Exactly.
So it's. I think it's really layered.
Yeah.
The personality of Alonso comes to play, where he's from comes to play, the exposures he's had from the top players come to play, and the experiences he's gained from, being an apprentice to these top managers also come to play, and it's a complex whole. And in fact, there's one thing that I'm not admonishing, but the upcoming managers too, the on the coming up managers too should learn and be very vigilant about learning that and Alonso himself is not complacent. He's not complacent.
Not at all.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'd have lost the game against Hoffenheim.
So at least it's not surprising throughout the entire season he has gone unbeaten. I think out of 27 matches in the Bundesliga, he has actually won 23 and has 4 draws, making 73 points.
You see.
Is that not remarkable enough?
It is. Listen, in fact, well, for a Bayern coach, I know he's a dead man walking. I know he's been sacked. Yeah, I think that at the end of the season he's going to down tools. But for a Bayern coach to admit this is contempt in the Bayern tradition. It's actually contempt that a manager in the helm of affairs in Bayern will admit that an opposition coach has really won the league. Yeah. It's a blasphemy in the Bayern tradition. It's actually a blasphemy, but it's not. That's the point. Sometimes you have to be unapologetic about certain things you say. You can't mince words, and Tuchel is very truthful in what he's saying. That And that speaks a lot about Alonso.
Yeah.
For a whole Bayern coach and Bayern to concede that Leverkusen has,
at the time of this,
yes,
it's so
unusual that an opposition coach in a competition would, accede defeat to you like that. It's remarkable. In fact, Alonso, he's doing really well. And, we can talk more and more about.
I'm not surprised. One of the biggest teams in the world are actually trying to coach him and get in touch with him. But I think in our next episode we'll find time to talk about his stance on staying at Bayer Leverkusen. So at this point we want to bring our discussion to an end.
Okay. That's